All right, welcome back to another video. So today's video, the topic is going to be how to replace the steering wheel in your 2015 to 2019 F150. And it's basically the same procedure for the Super Duty F250, F350 trucks as well. They have the same steering wheel. So you may want to upgrade your steering wheel to a leather wrapped wheel. Some people like to put the Raptor style steering wheel on, the one with silver trim or whatnot. For me, it's because if you look at my steering wheel, you can see it's really worn out. This is an XL work truck, and obviously the person driving it really liked to grab up here and wore it out really quick. So I'm taking this opportunity to upgrade to a leather wrapped steering wheel. So here is the part number that I'm going to be using right here. I'll show you what comes in the box. I was able to find it online, brand new. You can buy these used if you can find a good one. It's actually just easier to get one new. I found a really good deal. I bought this one from Ford Parts Giant when I bought it, and it was the best price on any of them that I could find. So it's basically, as you can see, it's the exact same steering wheel with the same buttons, and you need to kind of match your trim level. Most of the buttons are the same on all the trim levels, but you know, they had like heated wheels and stuff. Basically the only difference with this wheel is over the base model wheel here is that it's got the leather. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this plastic on here to protect it while I'm doing the installation, but it will be a nice upgrade over just the factory, you know, vinyl covered foam wheel. So it's actually not too hard. It's actually a pretty quick procedure relatively. It just can be a little tricky if you've never done it before. The older Fords had bolts that held the airbag on, and the newer vehicles like this, they have a it's like a spring compression. You'll see once you get it out what I'm talking about, fitting that basically the airbag just snaps in place. So to do this correctly and safely, we always have to worry about the airbag going off when you're working on the SRS system. You're supposed to depower the restraint system. And how you do that is you look up in your owner's manual the fuse for the restraint control module, pull that fuse, and then turn the key, the ignition on, and you should notice that the airbag light is on the dash, and it stays on 60 seconds after you've had the key on. Then you turn the key off, you go under the hood, and you disconnect the battery. And the point of that is to drain the reserve capacity in the restraint control module. Alternatively, you can just disconnect the battery under the hood. I had to pull out my battery to replace it with a new one, and my truck's been sitting here for a couple of days with no battery. So I know that my restraint control module has lost all its juice by now. All right, so to get the airbag off, once the system's powered down, you just need to take something like an Allen key or something small. If you look on both sides of the steering wheel, you'll see there's a hole right here. So if you stick this in the hole and you feel around, you gotta get it just the right spot. You'll feel a spring compression. You're actually moving a piece of metal on a lever, and as you push that in, it will cause the wheel to pop out. And it's the same thing on both sides. So once you get one side out, you need to kind of hold it from falling back in while you come to the other side to pop it out. And then the airbag will just fall off, or just basically come right off. So I think I got it on that side. It's that easy. Let's see. I just got this side, and the other side popped back in. So that's what I mean. You have to kind of So that's actually probably one of the easier steering wheel or airbags I've ever removed from a Ford. Usually, like on the Crown Vics, some of like the 2005 up Crown Vic, there's like 4 of them, and I mean, it's like an hour procedure going around trying to get it to pop just right. That wasn't too bad. Okay, so you saw that. now there are a couple wiring harnesses that we need to undo. So you can see this is for your horn. Just a little red harness here. You can see you just want to be careful not to break any of the clips. And it will be kind of hard for me to do one-handed. So yeah, I just pried up on the plastic. I was able to pop that tab off. So on the airbags, see, pop that little tab out there. Then they just pop out. So same thing on this side. Pop that little tab. These are your two different stages of your airbag, and that pops out. They're color coded, so you don't have to worry about putting them on the wrong one when you go to put it back. So that's all there is to getting the airbag out. Okay, so now the airbag's out, you'll see there's this wiring connection here. Just reach in here, push down the button, pull that. So we are now disconnected from the truck. And then we just need to remove this bolt right here. Okay, so we've got a 15/16 socket, which fits on here. And the easiest way to do this is with an impact gun. But if you don't have an impact, you can have somebody hold the wheel, or you can hold the wheel. You can just do it with a nice 1/2" setup like that. So that's all there is. That just pops out. And the wheel, as you can see, just comes right off. You can see that on the steering wheel, there's a little keyed indicator, which means the center up position. So if you just want to make sure your steering wheel is straight before you take it off. So that's all there is to that. We can set it aside. And then just want to take your wiring for your new wheel, stick the airbag wires through the proper hole, turn your clock spring back up. So there's these holes in the back of the steering wheel that have to line up with the clock spring. So easy to do, just keep everything oriented the way it was. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, it only goes in there one way, so you can go ahead and plug this connector in now if you want, just to get it out of the way. And we're going to take our bolt. I believe the torque rating that you want on the steering wheel bolt is about 35 foot-pounds. Basically, you want to make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want a loose steering wheel. But obviously you don't want to crack it off or anything. Snug it. Make sure it's nice and snug here. Okay. So that's the hardest part we're done with. Make sure you plug your horn connection back in here the proper way. And then last but not least, plug in our airbag connectors. Snap your tabs back down. So do it once over, make sure everything's correct. And then you can see these little spring compressor things, they just fit into the tabs there. Okay, so we're gonna set it on here. We're gonna get everything lined up straight. You'll hear it click into position. And then we're done. That easy. So now you want to repower your system. Go ahead and put your battery cables back on. If you took your fuse out for the restraint control module, put the fuse back in before you connect the battery. Once you put your battery in, you'll want to do a battery relearn or battery reset procedure, especially in my case if you have a new battery. There's, people say two schools of thought on that. Say it's completely not necessary. Some people think it is necessary. Obviously, if you don't have FORScan or Ford IDS or another scan tool that's capable of doing a battery reset, you can let your truck sit for 8 hours. Once the battery is put in, it will supposedly relearn itself. I have access to IDS, so I'll do a battery reset procedure, and after that, we're ready to go. We'll try it out and make sure everything works. Alright, so if we open FORScan and you have your cheap, Elm with the MS CAN switch or whatever you're using, click connect to the vehicle. Same thing, it's going to go through, make sure your ignition key is on, it's going to go through all the modules in the vehicle. It's going to take a minute. Alright, so don't be surprised if you see a bunch of little DTCs in some of your modules. A lot of this stuff is lost communication with trailer brake control module, which I don't even have, stuff like that. So nothing you need to worry about unless you have like a check engine light or powertrain DTCs. All right, so we're gonna go here to service functions. You can see here, battery monitoring system reset. So you click that, you click the play button. This procedure resets the battery monitoring system. Perform the procedure and the following batteries are placed. I'm not going to do it again, but you would click OK. It will run the procedure. It will tell you to switch ignition off and back on just like an IDS. And that's all there is to it. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect. Again, some people say it's optional. I like to do it the proper way. It's relatively easy and cheap to do it the proper way also, just FYI. All right, so now make sure our steering wheel works the way it's supposed to. Make sure horn works. You can see our cruise switches work because the set mile per hour. Obviously, I can go through my switches over here, just make sure everything works. Same thing on the radio. Just make sure your, volume controls or whatever are working. Cancer treatment and research. Tickets are free. So everything's working over here. All right. Take the wrap off. And there is our new leather wrapped steering wheel. Again, you can pretty much put whatever trim model you want on there. I just went with the black leather wrapped. That's obviously the look I'm going for in my XL work truck here. So hopefully the video helped you out. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment below. Like the video. If you want to buy adapter that I recommend to use with FORScan, I'll leave a link for it below. I'll also leave a link to this part number right here. I'll leave this part number to this steering wheel. Again, kind of depends on the trim level of your truck and the options that you have, depending on what steering wheel you get. Go to any good Ford parts website and they should be able to help you out. Unfortunately, if you try to ask the dealer to look it up for you, they can't really help you if you're upgrading. All they can tell you is what came with your truck. In my case, they would have just gave me the part number for the basic vinyl steering wheel. All right, until next time, we'll see you later.